Jail Administrator.
Administrator Joel Phillips give us a program about kind of a then and now about the sheriff's office and how the facility works, the jail, etc., how they got to be out here and not in town, and then we'll have break into groups for some tours.
Darn at the back of a half convertible Mercedes jank.
Oh, a word of caution, there's 2 elevators in the facility. You'll notice one is a public elevator and one is the keyed or key fobbed elevator. If you
Don't
go
look at the
in
camera,
one that's
ma'am.
key fobbed, you need a key, the doors will shut and you will not move. You'll have to push the alarm and somebody will physically have to come get you. So,
With you, we're not going in that one.
we will go in that one, but I'll be with you. Well, I'll be with you.
Thank you. Thank you,
The
Lord.
buildings and grounds, right?
And he could probably show you the cubby holes where the people hide at, but
Huh? I don't want to see those, sir.
Well, hi.
you'll be surprised.
People hide?
I worked, I was assigned to the patrol division up until 2008. From 2008,
Don't let me give a tour to some senior citizens. I'm going to be adding all kind of flavor. Yeah, homeboy was scalped right where you're standing. Yep, that's right where you're standing. Don't get scared, ma'am. It's okay. It happened 30 years ago. But the screams of the ghost at night still lingers.
I moved into the detective division. I was the unit supervisor for the Mid-Arctic Task Force for the 4-county area, Marshall, Tama, Grundy, and Hardin County. So I worked undercover narcotics for quite a few years.
You've seen some stuff, huh?
In the middle of 2014, I was assigned as jail administrator. Before that, my involvement in the jail was if they had an unruly prisoner, if we had somebody that needed extracted, or if I had a civil process to serve an inmate. That would be the only reason that I would go into the jail. My first week was just trying to figure out where I was at. After being an employee here for 14 some years, I would still get lost. So there's been a little bit of cross training that since I went over there, I've seen where we can help each other out through the divisions. The Marshall County Sheriff's Office has 3 divisions: the jail and buildings and grounds, the civil office, and then the patrol division and transportation division. So we try and cross-train in each one of the divisions. We try and, for instance, the patrol deputy has a civil paper that he knows that individual is in the jail. We'll have him go over and actually go into the housing unit, so he knows the layout of the jail and actually face-to-face with the jail employees and the inmates, and gets to know who is in our facility.
Now, what do you mean by the housing? Who's in jail?
Yes.
Cell?
Yep. And we have a housing officer. A housing officer is assigned to each one of the housing units. We have 8 housing units. And when we get into the control center, you'll be able to see the kind of the layout and which housing area is where. We have a male general population. We have a maximum security, a male maximum security, female general population, female maximum security. We have a special status. Usually we use that
Snitch block.
sexually deviant or high-risk prisoners, or our juveniles is what we're utilizing it now.
Never mind.
And then we have minimum security north and minimum security south. Those are our less violent prisoners. A lot of times our federal prisoners, our detainees, that's where they're held. They're held here on administrative reasons. They're less violent, and I say a lot more manageable as a prisoner. So we do have those units, and there is actually a housing officer in each one of those units that handles the problems in there. One of the things is through the hiring process, we require at least a minimum 4-hour job shadow. We would typically like them to spend 8 hours here. That's prior to employment. That's to give them an idea on what we deal with, what the duties are. And we've had individuals show up here. They've passed the physical, they've passed the aptitude testing, they've passed the interview process. They come for the job shadow and they say, I don't want to work here. I just can't deal with inmates. They don't realize what it takes physically and mentally to deal with some of the problems that society has.
That's absolutely true, at least for the prison side of things for me. We used to see individuals start their job as a CO and quit within a week after you know, being completely dish-ragged mentally by the inmates.
And then I'll kind of give the disclaimer. We try and prevent anything that may occur as far as any nudity, yelling, swearing. We try and prevent that as much as we can. Sometimes we can't control some of the outbursts. If there is an emergency, we'll know by radio, and what we'll do is we'll just move quickly to an area, just in case some of us have to respond to emergencies. So things change quite dramatically sometimes. Fights are rare, knock on wood, but there is. At our duty stations, we have a team that responds to control that situation. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the control room on different types of situations that we have and how we handle those.
He says fights are rare, very rare. Anybody been locked up in Marshall County in Iowa? Is this true? Or is he just putting on for the old lens?
Probably our biggest problem is contraband. If you are arrested for a simple misdemeanor, by code, we cannot search you. We cannot physically search you unless you are admitted into the jail. So we do have contraband that come in. We do a pretty good job of checking. Basically, a pat-down search is what we're allowed to do. If you are held here in this jail 24 hours on bond, you are required, that's when you start the intake process. That means you get a shower. Your property is inventoried. All of the clothing is washed and stored in inmate property storage. It's accounted for, it's logged, and then they have a hygiene issue. We basically issue basic hygiene to the inmates and clothing. That's kind of where
Barker stuff. Rest easy. Once we even though I don't think it's the same old Barker.
We'll kind of go through that process, but I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, we are. Come on now. Senior citizens, unite. God, is this the morgue? Oh, it's just a table with a curtain on it.
And some of you may notice this is part of the old jail cell from the South 2nd Avenue. It's more or less a nostalgia. As you'll see,
this is where we discipline the nighttime floor crew. If they don't buff them floors shiny enough, they'll sit in here for the next 3 months.
when we go into the facility, this is what people think jail is.
Yes, right, in our opinion.
So. I'll take the first group down, Lucas.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, face the wall. Do not look at the buttons.
We'll kind of go from there. Come on in.
Come on here now.
We will be going out the front here. You can get out both sides. That'll kind of the kitchen area.
Oh, this guy's like, I gotta get the hell out of here. He's like, please let there be a fight jump off. I need to get out of here.
Okay.
4,000 pounds.
I think she's a little claustrophobic, so
leave it to the seniors to be small talking on the 4,000-pound rated load sign. Oh God, this dude, man. He's like, I've had enough of this.
Get some air on the way down. This is the elevator that you don't want to get stuck in without a key. So.
Hey, elevator rides are always so weird, man. Awkward silence, like, please get me out of here. I don't like
and
these
we'll
people.
Step out and go to the right.
They're like a herd of sheep. Oh, oh no, Grammy! What are y'all doing in the trenches?
Yes, we are. We're on the ground floor.
I'm having too much fun with this
floor.
one. Sir, can I get a Coke before we start? Yeah, just don't feed the
we'll
inmates.
Kind of start over here. And if you guys want to go off and down the hallway, this is the jail public entrance. This is where a lot of the public comes to. Off down the hallway is our visitation. We have video visitation for inmates. What they have to do is they have to be an approved visitor. Everybody gets signed up. The inmate has to request to see that person.
It looks like they got ourselves a bit of a traffic jam, kind of like visiting a cave. Got another pack of seniors getting another tour done while he's doing one. These deputies definitely know how to kill two birds with one stone.
Once that person is approved, that means we make sure there is no contact orders between the individuals. There's no wants and warrants. They're not prohibited to see each other. What they do is they sign up for visitation. Visitation hours are from 8 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night. And what they do is they come in, they check in, and they go down the hallway, and you'll see booths. There's 7 video booths. And what we do is when an inmate wants to have visitation, we don't remove them from their housing unit. They will actually go to a video camera in a booth, and it's a two-way video visitation.
Hey, watch it.
So we don't have to move the inmates from their housing units. It's more efficient that way. Yeah, you can go on down and look.
Go on
And
down.
then you notice we do take donations
Walk
from a lot
anywhere
of
you
different
like.
agencies for family members that have children.
Oh,
a lot
no.
of times we need to keep the children off from their housing units.
He threw in
It's more
donations on the
efficient that
old
way.
heads.
Yeah, you can go on down and look. And then you notice we do take donations from a lot of different agencies for family members that have children. A lot of times we need to keep the children occupied while they're visiting their family members. So we do have books and stuffed animals, and we encourage those families that need some of those supplies to take those with them. And we'll come down into the public
That's
viewing area.
nice. Nice way to shoot a shot with the donations. Oh, is this the church? Church? Pews? Church? Might be booking. They like to trick you up with those pews, man.
There should be an electric chair in there.
Wonder how many death sentences he sat through. First thing smoking. Looks like there should be a gas chamber electric chair back there. Because the see-through glass, you know, certain people can watch the execution go down. Homeboy probably worked on Green Mile for 20 years.
They can see the court proceedings. All the proceedings are public information. Inmate wants to come out and see initial appearances. Can do so through its audio, through the TV. It's broadcasted. In this next room over here is what we call our courtroom. It's all done by video. Unless we do have some Department of Correction, probation officers, from judges. If you have a parole violation or probation violation, a lot of times they will come out to our facility and they'll hold their hearings in person, and this is where that happens out here, if they have a parole or probation violation.
Video court's still used to this day, and even on my first day in lockup, I had to go through a video court session just like he's talking about. And they had a particular spot. It was usually where they held GED classes and stuff like that throughout the day. But in the early morning, they turned it into a little mini video courtroom. And now that I'm thinking about it, I got a couple stories from that. Yeah, man. See, sometimes it just takes a little something like this to trigger some deep, dark memories, man. I remember some stuff going down in that place. I'll tell that later on down the road.
It's bulletproof glass, as you know.
Bulletproof
All the
glass.
windows on the first floor are all bulletproof.
Wow.
So we've taken those precautions. A lot of this was repurposed from the old jail. So once we're finished here, we'll kind of go around and about, and we'll step in here and we'll actually kind of look at the room. But the courtroom, all the court proceedings occur at 8:30 if you're arrested. This is where an individual has their initial appearance in front of the judge. And when I talk about the initial appearance, this is where their charges are read to them by the judge, explained, and then they either released on their own recognizance and a court date is set. They can plead guilty on simple misdemeanors, or they're required to post a bond, either cash or surety. We do have a list of, when we talk about surety bonds, we do have a list of certified bondsmen in our booking area.
Shout
And
out to
from there,
Corky,
they're
always
able
getting me
to
out
arrange
on
those.
that
So this is
low,
where the
low.
actual bondsmen come to meet with the client to fill out those bond paperworks to post their bond. If they are released, they'll go back into the booking area. They're checked out from our booking area. Their property is given back to them, and they're escorted out the prisoner release door, which is just on the outside. They go through classifications. Everybody starts out at level 5. That means they're held 23 hours in a cell under constant supervision, and they're let out 1 hour a day. What that is, it's for staff to monitor.
If you're lucky.
To see how they're adjusting to confinement. A lot of times we get individuals that have substance abuse issues. They may be violent, they may be going through withdrawals. That gives nursing staff a chance to go ahead and assess. And then if they've had any disciplinary, or if they have, depending on their severity of their crime, we classify that individual, and they start going through their levels, or they're out more and more each time. It usually takes about 5 days to go through levels if they haven't had any problems. So if you're held here for longer than 24 hours, we set up an inmate account. That means it's your own bank account. It's like their own banking system. What that is family members or the inmate can transfer their money that they come in with, or they can have family members, or they can transfer money from their bank account to their commissary. And that's used to purchase extra food if they want, approved hygiene products. They can buy phone cards, anywhere from subscriptions. They're allowed to have 2 subscriptions to like a newspaper, magazine, and things of that nature. A lot of times they'll use it to buy Snickers, candy bars, snacks. They
Play poker, you forgot that one, huh? Someone asked me something recently that kind of relates to what he's speaking on, and I'll answer it now. Someone asked, what happens when you get in trouble for little things in lockup? I've answered it plenty of times on this channel, but the first thing they're going to usually do is take your phone calls, take your visitation, or your canteen. There are ways around it, and I wouldn't suggest you doing this because you could get in trouble as well as the person that helped you do it. But I've done it personally, and I've seen it done hundreds of times. If you get in trouble and they take your canteen, all you have to do is get someone to put money on someone else's books and get that individual to order for you. That way you never miss a beat. And that's one of those things that happens like jaywalking out here in the streets. Everybody does it, but no one really ever gets in trouble for it. Unless they're really watching you, they'd have no idea. Because that person's allowed to buy whatever he wants, right? They don't know where the money came from. All they see is him get that big-ass bag of commissary, take it to the cell. They don't see them splitting it up. And they ain't got the time to watch all of that. And even if they did, they could go down there and say, hey, man, why are you splitting up the canteen? What are they going to say? You're not allowed to give them nothing? You're allowed to give a person anything you want, even if they are on canteen restriction. It just means that they can't go to the store under their account.
They like their snacks. And you might ask how they get that, family members get that on there. There is actually a kiosk out here in the jail lobby where they actually put cash in. They can use a credit card. You can go online and access the inmate's account. If they have that information, they can actually put the money.
Traffic. Let's get out of here.
The money on their account. So it's quite the system. We do have a barber. If they want a haircut, they come out, they get a $13 haircut.
What?
Females don't get perms. The beautician stops there. So, but if they want a haircut, we do provide that services to them.
Hold the f on. They're charging 13 clip for a haircut? No, sir. Marshall County, the taxers of America. Hell no, man. When I was in there, they did free cuts, even though it came out jacked up. I'll never forget, I told the barber, this was when they were in style. I said, hey, yo, man, I want me a double edge up. I seen a couple of my friends rocking them janks. Of course, they're black dudes, but I didn't care. I wanted me one too, and he did it, man, and it came out sharp as hell. Looked like Vanilla Ice over there in Seaside D Block.
When we talk about phone cards,
$13 haircut though. What?
Like they would like a phone card. They purchase that with their money, either $5, $10, or $15 phone card. We have, and you can see it's being broadcasted from the microphone. They can purchase phone cards to call their family members or loved ones or anybody they would like. Their attorney calls are free. They're not charged for that.
That's a quick tour. Why don't you be more like him?
The telephones are located in the housing units, so they really don't have to leave that housing unit. And I believe there's 4 for each unit, north and south, and one. So they do have those. Mail, like I said, mail. We do provide those mail services, ingoing, outgoing mail. Trying to think what else.
That's about it, buddy.
Train of thought, but I'll think about it. They do have a computer opportunity for legal materials. We do have a law library. It kind of also is secondary to our chapel, our church, and basically it's the Iowa Code, and there's some federal code statutes on there. Other than that, and they have to put in a request to use that computer. We control everything, ingoing and outgoing. As we work through the facility, you'll see we have visitation rooms for their client, for the attorneys, for the defense attorneys to come in and visit with their client. It is not barrier-free. We don't allow barrier-free visitations. There's always a barrier between the public and the inmate, so we don't allow that. And that's kind of the way we do things with the visitation, and then the attorney-client visitation booths. There's not barrier-free. There's no public
Well,
contact.
the way you have it set up for the visitation, there's no way they can see
No,
from anything
no.
under, that's what we said.
Yeah.
That's
Probably
really-
yeah.
That's really good.
The worst thing that we try and monitor is if every now
Grammy thinking all the packs come in through a little sliding feature when they're visiting the attorney. She don't know nothing about that suitcase money. The old coin purse, the old sack of loot.
we kind of, obviously, if people go to great lengths to do things, we'll get to some nudity exchange between the two, and we monitor that as we try and get that knocked out and
That's right.
controlled as much as we can. But they also, with that, there's also the violations and sanctions if they violate those rules. We basically have our own sanction list. If you do A, the penalty's going to be B, and there's penalties for that. So it's basically a whole community right in here. So it's
I want to be here.
and yes they are, yes they are. So
A good place not to come and visit.
that's right.
I've been through so many tour guides of many variations, right? And there's always that one person who's got to ask a question to make themselves seem a little bit smarter than the rest. Like, come on, man, keep it moving.
That's right. A tour is a good place to see it. Yeah, yeah. But we can move on around to the courthouse and.
I didn't need that one.
Kitchen, baby. Grammys, start whipping up some cookies. Them grandmas have to go to town in here. Bake some cakes. Huh?
This is part of the original building, you said?
Yes, it is.
Original bakery right here, man. We used to make Wonder Bread. And we started the first line of Dunkin' here. Dunkin' Donuts, before they changed it Dunkin'. I think we're going to wrap it up right there. We've already went in about 30 minutes. It's an hour-long video. And, with my reviews and reactions, sometimes it could be even longer. So we'll save the rest for a part 2. If y'all even enjoy, this is Iowa. And I really just got a few good laughs out of this one. I didn't learn too much of anything. But Iowa seems to have, or at least Marshall County seems to have their stuff in order. But stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. I will bring the part 2 your way if y'all want to see it. As well as we're about to be entering into the women's side of things on 60 Days In. And got Nat. It should be juicy, man, to say the least. The girls in this season of 60 Days In are absolutely buck wild. But as always, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.